I was forced to miss my daughter's graduation, but she said the only way I could make it up to her was to also miss my stepdaughter's graduation, so I promised her I would, and it tore our relationship apart. I, 54M, lost my first wife when my son, 25M, and daughter, 22F, were ages 9 and 12. Both my kids took it as hard as you would expect, and to this day have a poor relationship with both my current wife Doreen, 49F, and my stepdaughter Amy, 18F. I started dating Doreen about 4 months after my first wife passed, as such my kids believe I cheated on their mom. Amy was 5 when we got together, and as such I see her as my own daughter. On to the actual story. 4 years ago, 2 days before Kay's high school graduation, Amy got very ill while visiting her grandparents and ended up needing emergency surgery. My wife and I rushed to be with Amy, and admittedly I did not communicate well with Kay. At the time Kay didn't pick up my calls, so I left her a voicemail and several text messages explaining what happened and telling Kay I was sorry but I would make it up to her. A few hours go by and I get a call from Kay. She is in hysterics telling me what a terrible father I am and stated that if I did not attend her graduation I would be dead to her. I chose to support Amy. True to her words, Kay did not contact me on the day of her graduation. And when we came home, Kay's things had been moved out of the house with a note explaining that we were no longer family and to never contact her again. Luckily Kay and I were able to reconcile. However, I promised her I would give her absolutely anything in the world to make her forgive me. She said that she would forgive me as long as I refused to attend Amy's graduation, as this was the only way to make it fair. I agreed at the time, thinking she was just joking or angry and would soon forget. This leads me to now. Invitations for Amy's graduation went out, and despite all the hostility, Amy wanted to make sure Kay got one. Kay called Amy later that day and said she would be unable to attend as she and I would be spending the day together per our agreement. Amy broke down into tears asking me why I was missing her graduation. I assured her I was not and that I would speak to Kay. Later I explained to Kay that I simply could not miss Amy's graduation. Kay launched into a tirade about how I was a liar and a jerk and how could I do this to her again. I told her that we would talk when she calmed down, and she said we would never talk again. My son, and several of our extended family have all taken Kay's side, saying I didn't see how hurt she was at graduation. My wife believes I am a jerk for even promising that in the first place, as I should have known it would only upset one or both girls. And Amy is just sad and confused, wondering why Kay hates her. I know keeping my promise and not attending Amy's graduation is probably the only way to salvage my relationship with Kay, but no matter how I look at it I would feel like I'm punishing Amy for having a medical issue. So what do I do? Update, 1 month later. I wasn't sure if I wanted to post an update after the reaction I got last time. I can stomach threats against myself, but directing such hatred toward my children was truly disturbing. But the graduation has come and gone, and I thought I should share how it all went down. I'm sure most of you will be displeased. Amy was mad at me for a few days, but we have a strong bond and she quickly got over it. The saint that she has said she would understand if I wanted to miss it to make it up to Kay. I told her I wouldn't do that to her and reassured her that she has done nothing wrong. As for the elephant in the room, Kay, she and my son live in the same city and work in the same field, so they're as close as ever. My son and his partner were giving her a lot of emotional support at this time. In the end, she decided not to attend Amy's graduation but sent flowers and a card with my son. There were a lot of nasty messages directed toward her, which I feel is completely unacceptable. She isn't mean or vindictive. She is a smart, very kind, very empathetic woman. She made a bizarre ultimatum as a confused and hurt teenager. I certainly don't think that makes her a bad person. I know all of you seem to think I hate my children, but the amount of pain I feel at the deterioration of my relationship with my daughter is unexplainable. I've been on and off antidepressants since the loss of my wife, and at my therapist's suggestion will be going back on them. It's taking all of my willpower not to reach out to her again, but I've already disrespected her wishes enough. She can choose to reach out to me when and if she ever wants to again, and I'll be waiting. I know it's not the most impactful update, and I'm sure most of you wanted to see me left miserable and alone, but I don't live my life for anyone else's entertainment. I can accept that I'm a jerk, and maybe I'm in general, but I'm not some evil monster that you all want me to be. I'm a man that made the mistake of sharing his problems with the internet, a mistake I won't be making again. I probably won't delete this account, but I'm not going to be updating in the future. Goodbye.